And joining us with more on what seems like the slow death of the PC is Brian Ambrozy, Editor-in-Chief of Icrontic, an online technology journal. Brian, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Let's get straight into it. Thank you. So essentially 2012 marked the end of the reign of the PC. Is this solely due to the rise of tablets and smartphones?
I'd say that's certainly a factor, but there's also something to be considered for some of the software and cloud services that people are now becoming used to using in their everyday experience. So, you have to consider that a lot of things that people do for both entertainment and business are happening on the internet, which doesn't really require a powerful PC to access. So, there's a whole slew of internet-connected devices that don't necessarily need powerful desktop chips to access all of the content that everybody wants. So, services like Netflix and Gmail and Google Docs and things that everybody uses on a daily basis don't require any $500 PC to operate and access. So that certainly is a factor as well.
Now, Brian, many blame Windows 8 for killing off the PC market. How much of a factor is Microsoft's failure to innovate re-PC software?
I would actually say it's probably a little bit of a reversal there. I think that the slow death of the PC is impacting Windows 8 sales because people, again, don't really need the services that Windows 8 Windows 8 offers anymore. Let's look at something like the Google Chromebook, for example, which happens to be selling pretty well right now. You're looking at a $200 to $300 device that can do everything that most people need it to do. And Windows 8 is getting into the $300, $400, $500 range. And if people look at their budgets and look at what services they require, and they say, well, I can do everything I need to do in the browser, and all I ever do is Netflix and everything anyway. Why bother with Windows 8?
And in fact, you mentioned the price point. And in emerging markets, inexpensive tablets have become the first computing device for many people, and they're really deferring purchases of a PC to later, if at all. So which global area has been the hardest hit?
Definitely the American market has been hard hit with the slow PC sales, but also European markets are struggling to sell PCs. I mean, let's look at Acer, for example. They're down over 35%. Sales of Asus is down over 20%, and these are major manufacturers in Taiwan and in Germany, and they
So, Brian, which PC brand is surviving the onslaught the best?
Lenovo and HP are doing all right. They're struggling. They're surviving. HP's entrenchment in the workplace helps them out a lot. But again, I mean, the fact is that a lot of the services that are being sold now to even large corporate clients are cloud-based and don't require expensive, $500 to $600 per person workstations.
Right. I want to focus quickly on Intel's earnings. Sales of Intel's PC chips fell by 7.5%. Now, they make up nearly 2/3 of the company's revenue. So what does this PC decline mean for chip makers like Intel?
Well, Intel in particular is going to have to really start to focus on low-power, high-efficiency mobile chips. Their competition from NVIDIA and AMD and other chip companies that have been doing low-power chips for some time now and perfecting them is really starting to become serious. I mean, let's look at the fact that Intel basically has focused for the last several years on making the most powerful desktop PC chips in the world, and they've succeeded at that. But the world isn't really looking for those so much anymore. It's the low-power chips, NVIDIA's Tegra. AMD is having lower power chips now, and it looks like consumers are making the choice for them and saying, we don't necessarily need these high power chips.
Right. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Brian Ambrozy, Editor-in-Chief of Icrontic.